Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be doing a tutorial on how to sew a palazzo pants with elastic. So here I've folded the number of fabric that I need for this palazzo pants. To fold your fabric, you look at the widest measurement of your customer. For this person, her hip is her widest measurement, and I've divided the hip into 4. And I've added all the necessary allowances, 1 inch for sewing allowance and the 2.5 inches that I need for the flap. So I've added it and I've folded out the fabric this way. Then the next thing you're going to be doing is to measure the full length of the palazzo pants that you want to make. For this palazzo pants, the full length of this palazzo, I've marked it out already. Here is 40 inches. That's the full length of this palazzo, and I've gone ahead to mark the 40 inches out, and I'm going to be connecting them with a ruler, and that will form the main piece that we'll be working with for this palazzo part. If you're new to my channel, you're welcome, and if you've been following us, thank you for staying with us. And if you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please subscribe to the channel so that you get a notification each time I drop a new video, so you won't miss out on anything. So I've marked out the full length of the trousers that I want to be working with, and I'm marking them out and connecting them with a ruler here. Once I'm done connecting with the ruler, the next thing that you'll be doing is to mark out the 1 inch sewing allowance by the side of the trouser, because this trouser is going to be having pockets by the 2 sides, so it will have opening by the 2 sides. It's not like a normal palazzo that doesn't have joining by the side. This one will have joining by the side, so I'm marking out the 1 inch that I'll be using to join it by the side. That's what I'm doing here. I'll mark out this 1 inch all the way down. So once your trousers will have joining by the side, it's very necessary that you mark out this 1 inch for sewing allowance. Don't forget it, because it's very important. Because once you forget to mark out this 1 inch, it will automatically shorten the measurements at the end of the day, and you may end up not sizing the customer if it's a fitted pants that you have drawn out. So I'm connecting the lines of the 1 inch that I mark out. I'm going to connecting them all the way to the hem part of this pants. So I'll have my 1 inch sewing allowance there all the way down. So once I'm done marking out my 1 inch sewing allowance, the next thing is to divide my hip measurement by 4. So this hip measurement I'm working with is 42 for this customer, and 42 divided by 4 will give us 10.5. So I'll go ahead and mark out this 10.5, starting from that 1 inch allowance that I marked already. So that's where I'll be placing my 10.5, and I'm going to be marking it to all the way down to the hem part of this pants. I'm marking out that 10 hip. Remember, I said hip measurement divided by 4. That's what I'm marking out. For this customer is 10.5. So it's this 10.5 I'm taking all the way down, and I'm going to be using my ruler as well to connect them together, so I'll have my line of yours to work with. The essence of this is, especially if you're sewing a pant that needs shaping, so you need this to be able to shape your pants so that your pants will come out very perfect. So I'm connecting this 10.5 that I marked out. I'm connecting the lines together all to the down part of these trousers, to the hemming part of the trousers. So once I'm done doing this, I'm going to be determining the flap of these trousers. So for the standard for getting flap is the hip measurement divided by 4 as well, plus 1 inch for each, so that the flap will be very free and sit on the person very comfortably, and the customer will be able to raise her leg. So for me to take my flap here, remember I'm making a palazzo pant with elastic band. So I'll be marking out the 1.5 inch that I'll be using to turn my elastic at the upper part before I will mark my flap line. Don't forget this, because if you forget to mark out this 1.5 inch up that is for elastic, and you just mark up your flap, you will see that at the end of the day it may not even enter the customer. So I've marked out my 1.5 inch for elastic band, then this is the 1.5 here, then I've gone ahead to mark my flap, which is my hip measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch. So the next thing is to know the extension of the flap, because this is the front piece that I'm cutting. You divide the hip measurement of your customer by 20. I've divided this already and I got 2 inches. Then I'll be adding 1/2 inch to that 2 inch. So I will automatically have 2.5 in that part. So that's what I'll be using to form my crouch, my flap, as we can call it. So I'll be connecting it with a ruler. That's what I'm doing here, making sure that it's on the same line with the one I marked before. I'll connect it with a ruler, and the next thing I'll be using my armhole curve to shape it out. So I'll usually come up by 2 inches or 1.5 to curve my flap with my armhole curve from that way. So that's what I'm doing here. I mark it out. So I'm going to be curving that area with my armhole curve. So I'm checking my measurements to be sure that is what I will have there is what I'm supposed to have there, so that my pants will not short and it will fit the customer perfectly after cutting. So I'm done checking my stuff. So I'm going to be curving my crouch area now with my armhole curve like I told you. And once I'm done doing this, the next thing I'll be marking is my waist to knee of this customer, and the waist to knee of this customer is 21. So once I'm done doing this, I'll be marking the waist to knee so that I'll be able to connect this to the hem part of the trousers. So I've gone ahead to measure what I have at the hem part to be sure it's what I need, because this customer does not want it to be too big. She just wants it moderate. So I've marked out what I want there. So I'll be connecting from that part down to the down place. So for me to do that, I'll be marking my waist to knee like I told us before. So I'll be able to curve my trousers very well. So I'm marking the waist to knee, and I'm going to be connecting the lines together so that I'm sure I have a straight line on that part. So once you connect the waist to knee this way, you connect the dotted lines to have a straight line, because that's the line you'll be working with. So it's the waist to knee line that I'm drawing here. So I'll be using this waist to knee line to now curve out my trousers. So I'll be connecting all the way from that flap area that I've already marked down to this waist, to this new. So what I'm doing on this new is the exact measurement that I want the nail to be. If I want it to be 17 inches, I want it to be 20 inches. That's what I've marked out here. So I'm going to be connecting it back to the flap line. So I'm using my hip curve. So I'm connecting from the flap line down to that new line that I draw. So you have something like this. So from this new part now, I will now take it straight down to the hemline of these trousers. So you just take it from that new line down to the hem part of these trousers. So watch my hand, follow what I'm doing. It's very easy. It's very easy and simple. And if you have any question, don't forget to leave your question on the comment section. So I'm connecting the lines very well to eliminate any sharp or bent area. So if I have any bent area, try as much as you can to smoothen it out. So I will now go ahead, I'm done working on this other part. I'll go ahead and work on the joining side of these trousers because I reduced it a bit on the hem side. So I'm going to be marking out my 1 inch on that part, and then I'll come to the upper part too. I will mark out the hip. The hip measurement is usually from waist is 9 inches on 10 inches depending on how big or fat your customer is. So I'll be connecting it from this hip that I've marked already. I marked 9 inches, and then I'll be connecting it all the way down to the measurement I have on my hem line. I'm using a ruler. I will go ahead and use a ruler to establish that my hip line. That's what I'm doing here. Then I will take it all the way down to the hemline. I'll make sure you always work with a ruler because it makes your work to come out perfect. Your lines will come out the way they are supposed to come. Your curves will come out the way they are supposed to curve. You see, I'm using a ruler. Don't always use a free hand. It's not even advisable. Always make sure of your ruler to connect your lines so you have a perfect work at the end of the day. So I'm done connecting from the hip to the hemline. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to cut out my clothes. Because I'm going to be using an elastic band, so we are not shaping anything on the upper part because it's elastic that will be gathering it. So I'm not shaping anything on this upper part. So I'll just go ahead and cut it out. We only shape the upper part if you're sewing a fitted pants, a fitted trousers. So before I always cut out, I always recheck my measurements. So that's what I'm doing here, and it's a very good thing. Always recheck your measurement. This is the 1 inch that I left for joining. I'm confirming it. The measurement for the hip divided by 4, I'm confirming it. I'm confirming my flap also. And once I'm done confirming all these measurements and I'm sure that what I have on my fabric is what I'm supposed to have there, I will go ahead and I will cut out my trousers. So let's cut it out. Follow me and you see how my hand is moving and how I'm cutting it. I must follow all the lines that I've drawn out already exactly the way they are. So lovelies, if you're new to this channel, you're welcome. But if you have been following us, thank you for following us. And if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please do subscribe to our channel so that you get a notification anytime I upload a new video, so you won't miss out on anything. And if you have any question, please don't forget to drop it on the comment section and I'll attend to it. So this is how I'm following all the shapes that I marked out earlier to cut my pants. So you see how my hand is going. Try as much as possible to make sure that your hand moves smoothly so you don't have rough edges when after cutting. After cutting, the edges of your cut should be very smooth and nice. So you position your hand very well and hold your scissors firmly, and then you cut out your fabric. So I'm done cutting out the flap area. So you see how our trousers is coming out already. You see that our shape is already coming out. So the next thing is I'm going to be opening the side. On this upper part, I'll just open it because I did not shape it at all. It's only you are going to be joining it back because this pants will have pockets by the side. So I'm opening it. I'll go and cut from the hem part. That's the only place that I shaped a bit because my customer does not want her pants big. She wants it moderate. So I'll shape it. So once I'm done cutting this front part, the next thing I'm be doing is to fold another fabric for the back, and I'll be using this front to cut my back. I'll just lay it on the back and I mark out the necessary areas that I'm supposed to mark out, add out the necessary areas I'm supposed to add to, and then I'll cut out. I'm going to show us how to use this front to cut out our back. So let's go there. This is our front. It's fine and nice already. So like I said, I've folded my fabric already and I've placed my front piece on this fabric to cut my back piece. So to cut the back trousers, all the most place we are working on is mostly on the flap and on the waist. For this back piece, just as I divided the hip by 20, we'll be dividing the hip by 4. So whatever measurement that you divide the hip by 4 and it gives you, that's what you're going to be adding to this flap of the front to get your back flap. Remember, if you look very well, you see I'm placing my tape on the line, the initial line that is on the front one. Then I will measure my 4. I'm not starting from the tip of this front one. If I must start from the tip, that means I'm going to be adding only that hip divided by 4 divided by 2 again. So I will now add whatever I have there in the front. I hope you understand what I mean. So let's say I got 4.2 or 4.5 after dividing the hip by 10. So what I'll be adding here is I'll divide this 4.5. Then I'll be adding extra 2.25. That means 2.25 of an inch in front to get my back flap. So just look at it very well, you understand. Then I'll connect it to that new line that I have there, and then I'll also connect this other part of the flap to the front one, and then the next thing is to work on our waist. So just watch the way I'm connecting them. So this is how you connect, and then you mark it out and then you go and cut. So I'm done marking them out for both the up and the down flap. So this is what we have at the end of the day. So the next thing is now I'm going to be working on the waist. On this waist side, on the flap side, you'll be going up by 2 inches for the back, especially if the hip is up to 40. But if the hip is less than 40, you can use 1.5 or even 1 inch. So I've marked that extra 2 inches that will be going up for the back piece. Then I'll connect it like this, and then I'm going to be connecting it again down to the waist, because that's where the connection should go. So watch my ruler, watch my hand, and watch what I'm drawing. So this is how I'm connecting. You'll be connecting the 2 inches extra that we added on that waist down to this waist. So this is what you have at the end of the day. So this is what you're going to be cutting for the back piece. These new 2 inches that you came up by, that's what you'll be cutting. So let's cut it out. So for the front piece too, you go down by 1 inch. That's what I'm drawing here, to eliminate too much bulkiness in the front pants after wearing it. So I marked out that 1 inch too. I'll be cutting it out later, but I'm going to be cutting the back now, all the necessary things that I draw out. So watch how I'm cutting it. You see, I did not go to the front piece again. I only cut that shape that I marked out already, that extra 2 inches that I added to that back piece. So I'm going to be cutting my trousers following every other shape that I've already marked out, all to the down part of these trousers. I'll cut it carefully to the hem part of this. trousers. So once we are done cutting these trousers, the next thing is to go ahead and join the flap. The flap is the first thing I'll be joining for this particular trousers, because it will have joining by the side and it will have pockets. So I'll cut my pocket too immediately after joining my flap, joining the two flap of the front piece together and joining that of the back piece together. I will put my pockets by the side. I'll add my pockets by the side and come out. So I'm cutting that 1 inch that I went down from the front piece. This is what I mean. So we'll cut it off this way and then we'll go ahead and join our flap. So this is the flap. You join it by 1/2 inch. You use 1/2 inch to join your flap. So I'll join both the front flap together. I'll join the back flap together. I will add my pockets by the side and then I'll come back and show us. So it's the flap I'm marking here. I'll be joining it with 1/2 inch sewing allowance, because that's the standard measurement for joining flap, 1/2 inch. So once I'm done joining and all the other ones, I'll come back and show us. Don't forget it's 1/2 inch I'm using to join the flap. So I'll join it all the way to the tip this way. Join it all the way to this tip. So I'm done joining the flap of the front and that of the back together, and I've already added my pockets by the side like I told us. This is it. So I'm going to be closing the side now. Remember, I marked 1 inch for allowance for joining the side when I was showing us how to cut this. So it's that 1 inch that I'll be sewing on. But watch how I'm going to be connecting it to the pocket. So I'll start from there. I'll get to the pocket and I'll connect it back to the pocket. Yes, this way. So just watch closely and follow my hand and how my machine is moving, and you understand. So I'm going to be joining it back to the pocket this way. And our work is done here. I'll go ahead and do that to the down part too of the sew. So this is what I mean. I'll start from the pocket to this way. I'll connect from the pocket back to the trousers this way, and then I will still maintain my 1 inch to join it all down. So the pocket that we normally open is by 6.5 or 7. So I'm marking it out. So I'll be joining from that pocket back to the main part of the trousers, and then I'll be sewing it down too with 1 inch sewing allowance that I left for joining it. So I'm going to be taking this 1 inch all the way down, and I'll do the same thing to the other side of the trousers too. I'll also close that side exactly the way I closed this. Then I'll come and show us, and after this is done, the next thing is to close our flap. Join the two flaps together. Make sure that the middle of the front and that of the back, they are meeting together. You join them. Make sure they are meeting together and join it. This is the flap I'm talking about. You hold them together this way, and then you use your 1/2 inch and join it together. The cocoa is to make sure that the two midpoint of those two, both front and back, they are meeting together. Then you hold with your flap. Once that is done, the next thing I'm creating my casing for the elastic band. I'll close this casing all the way, add my elastic band, and my palazzo pant is ready. I'll do that, add my elastic, and then I'll come and show us the final look of the palazzo pant. Make sure you try this out and leave your comments on the comment section. So if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, please subscribe to our channel so that you get a notification each time we upload a new video. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to comment, like, and share this video with your friends. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. See you again in my next class. Bye.